Greetings, Marsh here, and welcome to episode 59 of my modded Factorio playthrough. In this episode, we are going to finally start making some Invar after all those distractions, and also expand our rubite mining because it's getting pretty pathetic. Enjoy! We're just not producing rubite very fast, and the patch was never very big to begin with. We still have half of it left, but there just wasn't much of it to start with. And that's having a lot of effects, where it's greatly slowing down our ability to produce batteries. And we're not producing any solder at all. Yeah, because of the way that this works, that lead gets priority for lead plates, so we probably want to do a little something about that. I'm not seeing very many trucks. Does that mean that the drones have basically caught up? They have. Look at that. Mineral oil is caught up. Naphtha is slowly increasing. It looks like the amount of residuals is slowly decreasing. And the warehouses are slowly filling up. Okay, so this gives you an idea of the total number of drones that we need. It's really cool, this display. So we need half of the drones we have currently equipped for the residuals, but we only need 7 out of the 50 for the mineralized, for the mineral oil there. But I'll leave it at 50. It's not like they cost anything by sitting in there. So a quick fix we can do for lead here to make solder a little more reliably. It's going to be kind of messy, but let's just do something nice and dirty, where we have a bypass here. So half of the available lead ingots will be bypassed to make solder, and the other half will be just go the normal way to make plates. And if there's enough capacity for both, then it won't matter which direction they take. So what to do about rubite? Well, unfortunately this map doesn't have too much rubite on it. Haven't gotten very lucky, but had to do some squinting. But all the way down here, conveniently next to Bobmodium, we have this rubite patch. It's still not very big, which is kind of a problem, but we'll take what we can get. Luckily, it does have infinite rubite, which could help our mining speed. And we need nitric acid. So can we make nitric acid right now? Looks like we can with nitrogen processing 2. So to make nitric acid requires nitrogen dioxide gas. And nitrogen dioxide gas comes from oxygen and monoxide gas. Unfortunately, nitrogen monoxide requires synthesis from ammonia and a green metal catalyst, which requires that aluminum and silver, something like that, or processing sodium nitrate into the individual gases. Let's see if there's another way of getting that. So we can make nitric acid from that nitrogen dioxide gas, but also from sulfuric acid and sodium nitrate. And that's also in nitrogen processing too. So where does nitrate come from? Only wastewater purification. So it looks like we have a couple of ways we could have done it. Sodium nitrate, which we don't have, we could have combined with sulfuric acid to make nitric acid. Or through nitrogen dioxide gas. But we can't synthesize that yet because we don't have the proper resources. And the final way is if we had sodium nitrate and compressed air, we could turn it into the relevant gases. So unfortunately, this is a situation where we can't use the acids quite yet. So it's another example of, hey, we can research a thing, but then it doesn't really do anything, unfortunately. So we're just going to have to put up with the fact that we won't be able to do any infinite mining for now. Definitely later, but not for now. So let's set up a mining base out there. It'll be a little simpler if we don't have to send acid out there. Let's see, as far as the location for the belt, probably right here. Luckily, this is already cleared out, so it's easy enough to just drag these along. This outpost will be easier to set up since we don't have to worry about the acid or anything, so we'll just place the miners down and see what happens. It's actually kind of a problem because a lot of those are going to be connected to the infinite ore, and since they don't have access to any acid, they're not going to be producing it very quickly. So, like, most of the miners aren't even going to be able to do any work, which is kind of bad, really. So something like that for our output. I could do a train for this, but it's kind of the same situation as before, where it's not quite worth it yet. Especially considering we're not that far away from sorting, or from washing, and the new tier of sorting and all of that, so we'll be placing train tracks down for all of that, so I don't really feel the need to do it now. We're just going to have to change it again later. And this thing actually looks like it's inserter limited, which is surprising. Let's get the power poles over here. Now we're delivering some rubite, at least the ones that can deliver rubite. Fortunately, so many of these have infinite ores attached to them. But let's use yarn and connect it to the non-infinite part of the patch. Don't feel like we need to really record the infinite stuff. I know the list is getting a little long there. Maybe make it smaller there. So now we need to belt this all the way over to the crushers. Although here we do have kind of a problem where this is a balancer, but notice how we have output from our original bombonium patch, which we really want to use first just so we can clear this up and not have this blocking the way. But because of the way that it's balanced, it's not using all the resources quite evenly. So let's make a storehouse here. And we want 2 loaders. Well, I guess it doesn't need to be the fast one. Because like most things, belts, loaders solve everything. So we can put that there. Have a loader going in. A loader going in. And let's have a circuit condition here where our mining base will only run if bombonium is less than 2,000. Otherwise, it gives priority to our original line. And the output will always come out here. See, I guess that's just a yellow belt right now, but let's upgrade it to a red. Doesn't need to be a red, but whatever. The rest of them are going to be reds, so kind of nice to have a light here. So that's just going to give priority to our original mining base here, just to give it an opportunity to completely clear out, which it's not that far away from that. So now we need to find a line to bring this rubite in. Running out of space here. Probably up top here. The base is just about at that point to where it basically needs to get redone, because it is becoming a mess. And now we need to do the same thing we did with bombonium and have some kind of buffer in here. Let's get a fast loader and a regular loader. So there's the input. Let's do it the same as the other one, where rubite has to be less than 2,000 for it to fill up. And then rubite from the mine gets priority and always goes in. And then a fast unloader to get it back on the belt. And let's upgrade as many of these as we can get away with. Good news, rubite caught up. It's running at full power again. And hopefully the system will catch up. It looks like the drone network has calmed down. It would be kind of nice to have a circuit network connected to all of these storage warehouses here, just so we have an idea of the total amount of everything we have. So 7.4K in residuals and 3.8K in the mineral oil. And okay, so it's reasonably full. It's getting there. We have space. That should last us at least a little while before it gets nuts. Interestingly, I think we are limited on inserters here. Could use an unloader, I suppose, but it seems a little unnecessary. We'll eventually catch up. The system hasn't actually clogged or anything, which is the good news. It's catching up. It's almost caught up to where it was, and then when it's caught up, it should slow down a bit. That coal is starting to run low. But that's okay for now. It's not critically low yet. One problem, though, is that stereotype is slowly falling behind. That this storehouse used to be completely full, and now it's falling behind here, so stereotype is eventually going to need to be replaced as well. Looks like we've got one way out there. Oh, I don't want to deal with that right now. That's a long belt to run. Plus, I was kind of thinking the new ore sorting would happen out there somewhere. So I don't know if I want to do all that. Well, one thing we can take care of is that Invar. I know we had lots of delays with the power network and all of that, but it seems to have smoothed out. Is everything smoothed out and working like it should? So let's figure this out here. Well, at most we're producing 3 nickel ingots a second. So let's use those in the recipe for molten Invar. And link by input. So that's only going to require a portion of our steel. But we do have a fairly large collection of it in a warehouse. But ultimately we're just not producing it very fast. So let's just do the one induction furnace. That's only going to be like a... yeah. 6 casting machines. That's fair enough. Uh-oh. This is what happens when you don't pay attention for a little while. The stone caught up again. Gotta hurry up and place more bricks. Soon we'll have a better way of getting rid of all that, but for now, it's more bricks to the rescue. And it's not necessarily a bad thing, because you need more bricks than you could possibly get your hands on. So once this whole square is filled up with concrete, then maybe it will be such a thing as too many bricks. But right now, we still have somewhere to put them, so let's just keep putting them places. One advantage to putting bricks down everywhere is it makes finding these gardens and trees much easier, because you can see the little pixels of where they are, so they're much easier to pick out on the map. It's not particularly realistic to be able to place concrete underneath plants, but the game will let you do it. Yeah, this coal shortage is becoming quite a problem too. Again, we're just not producing it fast enough. Yeah, might have to do trains after all. At least for some of these resources. But you know what? Let's do Invar. Since that has been delayed several times now because of various parts of the factory needing attention. Let's not get delayed again by making some trains when Invar was on the list of being made. So let's get that done real quick. Luckily it's pretty easy. It's just something we can stick on the end here because we've already produced the resources we need to make it otherwise. So we need an induction furnace and a couple more casting machines. We need 6 of them in total. And let's get another setup to copy. Something like this ought to work okay, and then we can adjust it for our needs. Let's put it here, but a space over. We'll set that to molten Invar. And then Invar plates. Gotta put the new type of power pole in here. So it looks like we need 2 stack inserters worth of resources. We need to get them right around here. So part of that is nickel, but the problem is this is the dump right here. So we need to change the logic setup because now we want to use these resources here. And you can see why having all of these ingot setups are separate from the smelting up here is because now it's starting to become quite the spaghetti to get all of these ingots to where they need to go. So I don't think we need all of these inserters anymore. I think it was just 1 red inserter. And the reason for that is we need to set up some logic. So instead of turning on and off the silicon right here, we want to send the signal all the way down here. Let's make a green wire so it makes a little more sense. We need the green wire to these guys right there. Now they're receiving the nickel signal. So instead, we're going to tell them to turn on if nickel is in excess of 10,000. Otherwise, they stay off and let the nickel go by. And then as a result, we don't need this to be disabled anymore. It just runs at full power. So now we may very well run out of nickel, and that is okay. It will only get dumped if we have an excess of it. Okay, we have nickel and steel piling up here. So let's connect it. And there's our Invar. Looks similar to steel, but it's stronger. Now, what does Invar get used in? If I recall, it's quite a bit of things. Quite a bit of things. Worth putting on the bus? Probably. We certainly would need it for science here. So let's run it down. We don't have a use for it on the bus yet, but... Did Invar unlock anything for us that doesn't require something else? No, it did not. So that's kind of an example where you get one thing, but you don't get another. Yeah, that might have been unnecessary at this point, because I was thinking we would at least unlock something that used Invar. But right now we've got nothing that uses it. Well, let's start researching some of this stuff here. See if we can find something that has Invar where we can upgrade some machines. Well, we don't have pump jacks yet. Might as well research those. And then we can get the next tier, which uses steel. Does the next tier use Invar? Nope, it uses brass. Oh well. Advanced fuel processing. It's blank because I'm not using it, but let's throw it in there anyway. First factory, nope. Yeah, it's like the burner heat source, maybe. But then, yeah, kind of like I mentioned, to where we need brass for the next stage. We need brass for weapons packs. Well, it might be more efficient to look at what Invar unlocks and see if anything else on that list we're close to. That's a no. Well, the next tier of storage tanks. It requires that we research aluminum first. Well, I guess it wasn't that important that we did that, but at least we can say it's on the list, so now when we get other resources like white circuits or whatnot, we will have the Invar ready to go for anything we might want to make with it. Man, we just do not have enough production capacity to deal with all this stone. It is what it is. That's okay. Because we're not that far away from replacing all this. I know I keep saying that, but we really aren't, so I don't feel a need to replace any of that right now. Looks like Stereotype has run completely out. And coal is falling quite behind. Yeah, I think we're going to need some trains to handle this. Because this stuff is just too far away to do a belt. And that's it for this episode. On the next one, we are finally going to tackle some trains, because these ore patches are getting farther and farther away, and we can't just keep making long belts going across the map. Thanks for watching. I'll see you later.